England's rivers are a massive mess of sewage. England's new strain, the evolved COVID-19 or whatever they're calling the new one, like I've been telling you, England's rivers and lakes are a mess. It's beyond belief the groundwater in England is a mess from sewage, just like in China, and exactly like along the Rio Grande, and this very same thing like the Chicago River, and the Ohio River, and the Tennessee River. And let's continue to the St. Lawrence River and the Hudson River, the Anacostia River, all over the country. Massive sewage problems. And all of this combined sewage overflow that's going into the environment in England and France and Germany and Spain and Italy and China and Mexico and Canada. Oh, Canada's horrible for this stuff. And the United States, all of it is full of viruses, millions of them, and bacteria, millions of them. Is it a coincidence? And the answer is, when the Flint River was killing people in Flint, Michigan, they discovered that the water was massively contaminated with sewage and Legionnaires. And, Legionnaires is SARS too. So let's see. SARS and Legionnaires is spread by sewage and rivers. So, let's think about this a minute. Lake George Association and the Fund for Lake George. RPI University, the Darren Freshwater Institute up at Bolton Landing. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I've been involved in these matters since I was about 10 years old, when they flushed all that sewage and industrial mess into Lake Champlain out in front of Fort Ticonderoga. So for anybody watching this video, that's not laundry. That's hung up there to block the sun. Ladies and gentlemen, the reality of the spread of these diseases associated with human wastes and other E. coli and, Ebola and fecal coliforms, and, you go all day long, from encephalitis and meningitis to typhoid, dengue fever, yellow fever. It's the sewage in the rivers in America on a massive scale. There, I said it. I got it all out in one breath, too. So for the Fund for Lake George and the Lake George Association up there at Lake George, New York, I want you to remember something. My dad, Clifford Witham, the Swamp Fox, was telling everybody about the sewage and all the septic tanks that were poisoning Lake George. He was making it pretty well known back in the 1960s. And it didn't cost him millions of dollars, and it didn't take him decades, and RPI University and the Chinese People's Republic of China to explain it to the people of Warren County. So to the $4 million research ship that the Sea Grant of Lake Champlain is having built, $4 million for a boat. Ain't that amazing? To study the slop and the mess and the piss and the sewage in Lake Champlain. Isn't that just fantastical story? Judge Terrence W. Boyle, $4 million for a ship. Isn't that amazing? Brand new, man. I mean, they got to have that brand new fancy boat to tell everybody that Lake Champlain's full of shit and agricultural runoff and industrial freaking waste and PCBs and dioxins and you name it. All kinds of nasty stuff in Lake Champlain. And I've been writing about it and explaining it to people for many, many, many years. And hell, I haven't even spent, $100,000 disseminating this information all over the planet. So to my friends there, Kirsten Wild, I guess her name is, something like that, at the Fund for Lake George and the Lake George Association, I want you to remember something about algae blooms. Clifford and Anita Witham at the old East Shores Harbor Marina on Lake George. We, Witham family, have been warning the people of the Adirondacks for about 5 decades about how all those leach fields, those septic systems, the 6,000 septic systems all around Lake George in that bedrock lake basin, and we didn't spend millions to do it either, Chris Novinsky. And, well, that whole crew from Fund for Lake George, from the Crasitos to Bob Blaze to Tom West, Kathy Bozzoni. I go all day long. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fund for Lake George is a big tax shelter scheme. It's a tax shelter scheme. And the lake, it's just kind of a, what do you call that, a sidebar, Tom West? It's a peripheral issue, extrinsic to the, the investment scheming of the tax shelter, the Fund for Lake George. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember when Gerald Solomon was first elected to the New York State Legislature. My father held a big fundraiser and a campaign rally for him at the old Swamp Marina, East Shores Harbor, today known as the Harris Bay Yacht Club. I remember my dad getting Gerald Solomon elected. So how long have I been doing this? A long time. Ladies and gentlemen, research the poisoned rivers of England and the combined sewage overflows of London and New York City and Trenton, New Jersey. And, you know, it just goes on from Upper Saddle River to Annapolis to Baltimore, Camden, Maryland, Tigman Island, Maryland, all over the freaking Chesapeake Bay, the Anacostia River, the Potomac River, all up and down the Admirable Sound, the Cape Fear River, the Neuse River in North Carolina, all over America. Mexico, Canada, France, Spain, England, China, Australia. Massive sewage overflows and spreading the viruses and the bacteria everywhere. So, okay, that was kind of a mouthful. All the links and information you need are below, and Merry Christmas, and have a safe and happy New Year. Wash your hands, take your shoes off before you go in the house, and make certain that you gargle with Listerine. That helps it a lot. Listerine, I found out that my habit of using Listerine has served me well. Ivermectin, get your shot of ivermectin from your physicians, and start listening to some of these doctors that aren't buying into the Pfizer, World Health Organization, CDC, New World Order plans of the Great Reset, and the World Bank, and the IMF, and the Federal Reserve. This whole thing is, man, you talk about a scheme, you talk about a scam. The Prime Minister there in England is telling everybody, as long as you obey, you better obey. You're going to have to obey what we tell you. You're going to lock down, shut up, sit down, keep your mouth shut, and get locked up if you don't, and fined, and go to jail and everything else if you don't do what the oligarchs and the poobahs tell you to, like Andy Cuomo, the governor of the state of New York. In this, got a message for you, Joe Biden. Not on your best day, pal. And Mr. Trump, you blew it. You blew it, Donald. Come on, Donald Trump, you freaking blew it, buddy. You had the power, you could have done some good, but no, your ego got in the way. What a freaking bombastic, yeah, I said that right, narcissistic blowhard, Donald Trump. Man, I'll tell you what, pal. Holy smokes. You can't make this shit up, folks. You can't make this shit up. Merry Christmas. Have a safe New Year. Hasta la vista. God bless. And I'll try to get back.